Because after a while, you do it once, you do it twice, and then it's like, who's to blame if you keep on doing it to yourself?
That's an interesting classification because when you think about just the nice guy in general, I'm not and taking dancing out of it. When you think of just the nice guy, they're the person that, oh yeah, I'm free, I'm available. What else can I do for you? And those kind of people. So now that I see from your frame of reference, because they have no boundaries, they let other people, and especially women, in those kind of relationships walk over them. We are back with another episode of Left Foot, Right Foot, and today we are going to cover an interesting one. Do nice guys finish last in tango? So we know that there's a common phrase in life, nice guys finish last, when it comes to especially dating and relationships. They often get passed over, but is that the case in our beloved dance of tango? What do you think, Rob? I think I've been on this journey, like I've always thought of myself as more of a nice guy. Maybe that's been some of my downfall, maybe not, but I've always had questions in myself like, man, it's not really worth it to be a nice guy, especially in tango.
Yeah, I have a love-hate with this one because, like, it's not like I'm just going out there to like try to be a nice guy. Like I think I'm generally like I was raised in a way to be generally nice. And I'm definitely like a stickler on the codigos, like at least I try to be. So it kind of sets me up to be a nice guy. And I think that there's a huge issue that I think our current tango community kind of favors the elites, and the people who are more exclusive, because they're seen as like they're more cool, they're less accessible, and like they're kind of inspiration for everyone to like work harder and get better so they can be accepted.
But could you be elite and nice?
I think you do that very well. I mean, you're a very accomplished dancer, and you are able to go between the cool kids crowd and like regular people, and you kind of do dance with a huge assortment of people.
I try, but there's a part of me sometimes that I would feel like, man, I should sit out more, or man, I should just be fill that role. I always have inner demons or toggle with that. Like, will I be more valued if I just said no more?
Yeah, I mean, I struggle with that a lot because I generally dance with a lot of people because, well, first, when I first started, organizers would come up to me and say, hey, Rob, can you dance that lady who's sitting out? They've been sitting out for a while. Do me a solid. But, after a while, you do a lot of solids. And then it's kind of like, I'm paying money to work for another person.
Right.
And and then it's just like, oh, what am I doing? Especially if it's like one or two a night, it's not a big deal. But sometimes I think that, because you're nice and there aren't a lot of nice guys out there, you become like the sucker for everyone to just kind of dogpile on you, like, oh, Rob will do it. And then, Rob will do it for everybody. Rob will do, and it becomes like, it becomes repetitive because, there aren't enough nice guys out there to like have a lot of helping hands to spread it out.
I don't know if I necessarily agree with that too much, because what if the people are just introverted? Like, we've gone through that problem. We've gone through this thing where people are just a little bit more timid. Me and Rob, we were just recently at a marathon, and we tried to do some street interviews, and we got denied. And plus, people just didn't feel like confident talking in front of a camera. And it just kind of made me realize, like, okay, maybe we're just really underestimating this whole being shy, introverted thing, because both me and Robert do pretty well talking in front of a camera and being a little bit more outgoing, even though I would classify myself more as an introvert or maybe an ambivert, a little bit of both, whereas Rob's like the textbook extrovert.
Yeah, to the extreme.
So, I mean, maybe just people are introverted. And does that mean they're not nice? I don't know.
No, it doesn't mean they're not nice. But what I'm saying is that because I ended up volunteering once, it's kind of, what it's like? It's like when you donate to like, let's say like a cat shelter or an animal shelter, right? Mm. And you do it once, and it's like, okay, I feel good. I believe in animals. And then you get this flood of like, everyone asks for donations afterwards. And you're like, dude, I only have so much money to go
You donated
around.
last month. Can you donate again?
No, but it's not, if it's one place, sure, but it's one place and then all their friends. And then, because like, they smell blood in the water pretty much, It's like, he's got money to donate. And, sometimes it feels like that. And sometimes it feels like, like it feels like that as a nice guy, you go out there, you try to help out the community because that's what you're supposed to do, and then it feels like you just get dogpiled because then like everyone sees you as the person who is like uplifting the community, and if you're the only if you're the only pillar, it's like it's gonna topple over sooner or later, and I think that's the burden that happens because there aren't enough people, or at least from my perspective, there aren't enough people putting in the work.
But I can hear some people already saying right now that, well, hey, Rob, I'm a nice person. I do genuine things for other people. Just because I don't go out of my way to dance with everybody at the Malanga doesn't necessarily qualify me as not nice.
No, that's true. That's totally true. But what I'm saying is like when it happens once, like then there's this expectation of it happening all the time, and maybe I should qualify nice versus giving, because there are a lot of nice people out there and they understand their boundaries, and sometimes I have issues with. For me, I have issues with setting up my boundaries and my comfort zone, because I'm like, oh yeah, let's do it, and like because I believe in the mission first before myself, and so technically it's kind of my fault for setting myself up to being taken advantage of, and I'm trying to be better at that. But at the same time, it's like, again, there's like I put myself in a situation where there's blood in the water. I'm like, here we go again,
Is there other ways of being nice besides just giving dances to everybody in the community?
Well, there's many ways to be nice. It's just like sitting down and talking to people, just keeping them company, remembering names. Like, there's many things you can do.
But do you think those people that do those things finish last per se?
I don't think they finish last, but I think the people who do that are better at setting up their boundaries. And I think that's what it comes back down to, is that everybody needs to set their boundaries. And I'm not good at setting my boundaries in my comfort zone, and I continually find myself feeling like I'm taken for granted or taken advantage of. And it's nobody's fault but mine, because you do it, because after a while you do it once, you do it twice, and then it's like, who's to blame if you keep on doing it to yourself?
That's an interesting classification, because when you think about just the nice guy in general, and taking dancing out of it, when you think of just the nice guy, they're the person that, oh yeah, I'm free, I'm available, what else can I do for you? And those kind of people, so now that I see from your frame of reference, because they have no boundaries, they let other people, and especially women in those kind of relationships, walk over them.
Yeah, and and it's hard to like break the cycle. So, and it's not just with tango and dancing. I also see that in like the business of tango too. Like sometimes, especially in the business of tango, we talk about it's like, it's my day, this is my day, and it becomes very territorial. So let's just say you're a new kid on the block or whatever, and you don't know what the senior hierarchy is. It's a little rough, because everyone starts telling you like what you should be doing, and then you think, okay, well, I'll follow the rules, right? And then that one person just goes, oh well, we're like kind of far away. You're like 20 minutes. I won't impact you. So everyone starts making excuses for themselves. So that's another issue about boundaries and being the nice guy. Again, it's more about boundaries. And it's really hard to understand where the boundaries are, especially if you're new and you walk in there and you just think, oh well, they know better, so I'll follow the rules. But then you start realizing that the rules are kind of arbitrary, and sometimes the rules shift because the person calling the shots is just doing it for their own advantage.
What about if we go even further and go and explore this nice trait or lack of boundaries in the dance, right? So, like, what about people that, when we're just gonna say leading for now, I'm just gonna associate nice guy as a leader. Obviously, there are probably nice guys that also follow as well. But I'm just gonna go with this role first. Nice guy as leader. Maybe they don't give boundaries in their dance. They just kind of, it ends up being very wishy-washy and unclear and ambiguous.
Yeah.
Because they give too much room, or they're not assertive.
Yeah, there's that. Or you might be dealing with a dance where someone's more selfish, and then you have Ms. Forever Ocho, you're just sitting there, you're like, okay, well, take all the time you want,
Right.
and then you lose your own voice in the dance.
Right. I mean, I wonder if it also translates into dancing partners as well, right? Because if you're too nice as a dance partner, and the other dance partner walks all over you, maybe that's also a thing.
It definitely
Like you have to set your boundaries when you're with your practice partner, for example, and say like, oh, hey, like this. Because if you're just like, oh, what else do you want to work on, and what else am I messing up on? They'll just kind of walk over you as well.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like I had that with one of my partners where, I mean, and it was kind of ridiculous too because came back with thinking, all right, I came off an injury. Might have some expertise in the area, but I have to relearn everything again. Like I don't move like I used to. And I had a partner who was only dancing for a year, and like she was almost pretty much bullying me around. It's like, oh, you need to do this, you need to do that, and like, dude, you don't like. It's almost like, girl, you don't know what the heck you're talking about. It's like
put your foot down.
And it was like, but the thing is, like, I was trying to like also like let her have her space and let her have her voice because I'm like, this is a partnership. This is 50-50. This is a partnership, and like sometimes it doesn't work like that.
50-50, yeah, doesn't exist very much.
We started this conversation with nice guys, but I want to say this issue also like goes to nice ladies who don't have a lot of boundaries because especially ladies who don't have a lot of experience per se. Maybe they're new 1 year in and like Mr. like cool suave, like 20-year dancer, veteran, comes in and goes, oh, I'm gonna show you the tango, and it's like,
and they're super nice about it and listening. It's like, oh yes, master.
Yeah, and they're like, oh, like this is such a good opportunity. No one has this opportunity that like Mr. 20-year veteran is gonna help me out, and then it's just like a one-way dictation of like just command, like you have to do this, you have to do that, and it's like I've seen it, you've seen it.
Yeah, take advantage of your niceness.
And I think we need to really talk about what's nice, where to draw the line, because it's especially when you're inexperienced, it's very easy to just kind of go, oh well, they know better, so I should listen because my role as as a novice person, someone who's inexperienced, is to listen and learn, So it's really hard to say, I don't feel comfortable. I mean, I've seen it many times, like a guy just go, oh, like dancing tango, real tango's in close embrace, and they're being like kind of weird and creepy sometimes, and the girl's just like, oh, I guess so, because they're the more experienced person. I've only been doing this for 3 months, right?
Well, to be fair, I was that person that when I started with Rochelle as my dance partner and practice partner, I did kind of defer to her because she was the more experienced one, but it worked out more beneficial because I took more accountability that I need to improve.
Yeah.
Right?
No,
so isn't that more of a positive thing that comes out of that scenario?
It can be positive, it can be negative. It depends on the relationship, I mean, was Rochelle just beating you up over the head, telling you like, no, Derek, you gotta do this, you gotta do that, like you're doing that all wrong. I mean, there are people who,
that's true.
There are people just like, it's sometimes like it was bad. Like when we were in competition, like sometimes we see people just get yelled at for 8 hours, and it's like, oh my God, like how's this person like how they handle that kind of abuse,
It also transmits down to people that also volunteer for tango organizers.
Yeah, no,
I feel
definitely.
like they also are the nice people that go out of their way, and they often get forgotten or take advantage of.
Oh, definitely. Like
for their
volunteers get turnover, like such a high turnover rate. Like they don't get treated well, and it's just like after a while, it's like, why am I doing all this work, break my back for $12 or $15?
Right. I mean, we were both volunteers at one point, and you organized and had volunteers. I also helped organize as well.
Yeah.
And yeah, it is
tough.
a rough one.
Yeah. I mean, we almost died a few times with that couch. Oh, that couch. Like, we have so many couch stories.
But yeah, back to being a nice guy in tango. I think we all start off, I'm just going to make a blanket statement. And the majority, I feel like, of guys, when they start off in tango, I think start off as the nice guy route. I think that's a default, right?
Yeah.
I would say.
Yeah.
Because tango is a very unfamiliar dance, it's unfamiliar territory, and so you just kind of want to lay low and just assume that everybody else around you that has more experience knows more. And then maybe you evolve outside beyond that, or maybe, and then some people just get stuck in that nice guy mode.
Yeah. Well, and I think the other thing is to actually be assertive, or to you need a certain amount of confidence too, and that comes with time. Like you don't, I mean, most people don't go in there on day one going, I know this is no problem. I got this in the bag. No one says that. I mean, maybe there's like that one special person that we all know that like would challenge the teacher, be like, I think I know what we're talking about here.
You know what gets me is being the nice guy as the dancer. When you're trying to pay respect, you're just like, I'm gonna wait for the cortina to end. I'm gonna wait for the music to start playing. I'm going to make sure that the person's not in conversation, so that don't interrupt. And all the time you're spending playing the nice role, letting these things flow out. Somebody walks up and like,
Cabeceo.
yeah,
Intercept.
yeah.
Yeah,
bailas, and then right away, gone.
Yeah, that does suck. Yeah, and like it also sucks too because like, there's no enforcement of the códigos per se. Like the ladies don't go, hey, don't do that to me. Or the organizers don't talk about like, hey, that's rude. Like, if you do that one more time, I'm gonna ask you to leave. I mean, there's no enforcement. So in a sense, like I feel like we have laws, which are the códigos, but we're in a state of anarchy because there's no enforcement.
Anarchy.
No, because I think we have to talk about I mean the actual definition of anarchy, not like riots and fire bombs or anything. That the actual definition of anarchy is without hierarchy. And I kind of feel that it's like you might have like Mr. Maestro coming in, it's like, hey boy, you shouldn't do that, but they're like, whatever,
it's the Wild West out there.
Yeah, it's like whatever, old timer, you're a has-been dinosaur, It's like I sometimes I feel like because when you talk about códigos and everything, I feel like people don't respect it, and sometimes like when you're that person who feel that I'm trying to respect the culture, I'm trying to respect the art, I'm trying to follow the códigos and all these things, it kind of you're playing with sometimes it feels like you're playing with half a deck of cards.
People respect it if other people respect it.
Yeah.
And because other people don't respect it, people don't respect it.
Yeah, and I think that's the problem is that, I think people respect it if there's an enforcement arm.
But who is the Cabeceo army is going to come out of nowhere, patrol?
I don't know.
You can't enforce that.
No,
but marching down.
No, but you can remind people, and you can tell like people like, hey, you know what? You can say no. You can tell. I mean.
But how many of it reminders? Maybe they never got the
memo.
The memo, yeah, they didn't get the códigos 101 crash course.
Yeah, and that's kind of that's definitely a problem. I do agree that like you shouldn't you shouldn't like dogpile someone who is just ignorant to the rules because no one told them the rules.
I mean, we've been in tango for more than a decade, and we watched a video on códigos, and there was stuff that I was enlightened by.
I know, same here.
So, and we're in it for decades.
I know.
And we try to follow some of the códigos, at least.
I know. But it's I agree with you there. Like, but sometimes I feel that let's just talk about the cabeceo, right? Mm-hmm. I think what would be helpful is if people told the ladies, hey, there's something called the cabeceo. They know what the cabeceo is, and if someone.
But no one wants to get lectured.
No. But if someone does it wrong, a lady can just go, hey, that's not the way we do it here. Can you do a cabeceo? And they need backup. They need someone like an organizer to say, hey, if things get kind of hectic or things get riled up, because it's kind of hard when. I think many times we hear this, it's like, oh, the ladies are the gatekeepers of the dance, so they're the ones who uphold the culture. Yeah, I mean, I might have been guilty of saying that myself, but at the same time, it's also like, if we want that to be true, they need backup, and the backups come from the men and the organizers, You know?
I can see that, but you're saying the organizers should do these things, but the organizers also contribute to the problem by having a setup that's not conducive to the cabeceo, for example.
Yeah.
The lighting is too dark, or all the tables are facing the dance floor. How are you supposed to cabeceo someone who's sitting and just they're facing the dance floor?
Yeah,
That's impossible to cabeceo.
I think, you know what, I get what you're saying, and I think that idea is like you're trying to cabeceo as they're coming off the dance floor. No, because like I've seen it, like I've done it myself, you know? Like someone's like, oh, I like that person's dance, I'm gonna, you know? And then they know, and then when they sit down, that'll grab them. So I think a lot of it is timing, and that comes it comes with experience.
Right.
But going back to like the whole boundaries thing, I think we all need to be better at boundaries. And if
But in what way?
well, just well, for me, and especially like people suffering from the whole nice guy thing, it's just like start by just saying no. You know, it's okay to say no.
You're saying no?
No, in general to anything.
Okay.
Like someone goes up to me, it's like, hey Rob, will you dance with this person? And I'm just like, you know what, not today. It's okay to say no, and then no should be respectful. Don't be a jerk about it. Be like, no, I'm never doing this ever again. But it's like,
I mean, we already have a bad enough reputation as a tango community, and then especially a big city like Los Angeles.
Yeah.
We also have the cliquey, snobby
yeah.
reputation.
Yeah, we do.
If you do that, that's like, isn't that catering to that stereotype or that reputation?
It does, but at the same time, it's like, how often do you say no? I mean, if you say no to everything, sure. But I mean, like, no, every once in a while, it's like, hey, I just want to have fun tonight. Can we just not? Or there are other people who take this up also. I think sometimes when you're, how they say like success attracts more success.
Yeah.
And sometimes, in a sense, volunteering attracts more volunteering.
Yes.
So in a sense, being taken advantage of attracts more people.
Taken advantage
Yes.
of.
I hate to say it because it's like, people see it like, oh, sucker, and then they're like, that guy will always jump on this. Don't worry, just count on Mr. I think that's
we reward too much bad behavior.
Yes.
Is pretty much what you're saying.
Yeah, and I think but it's up to us. It's up to the individual to break the cycle. I'm trying to break I do my best to break my cycle. And I hate to say this, but like at some point, I'm actually thankful of getting this injury because it's not. I don't want to say it's my excuse, but people actually are more. I don't feel as guilty for saying no because it's like, look, I'm
hobbling over here. Dang it.
Yeah, I do. I limp all the time now. It's like you really want me to you really want me to go out there and like break my back with this person when I could barely stand on one leg. So. People are more sympathetic towards me because of that, but and I do still kind of feel bad. We're like, oh, I used to dance with this person all the time, and it wasn't so bad. But now it's almost like, oh man, like I need to protect myself more. And that idea actually helped me say no and draw boundaries a little bit more. And I'm not saying go out there and get injured, but like, take it from me. You don't need an injury to say no. And you shouldn't feel guilty to say no. And I think it's more important to say no more often because, in a sense, drawing that boundary protects you and it helps you become a better asset to the community. Because if you don't protect yourself and you're broken tomorrow, what good are you to the community? That's
fair. All right. Well, let us know what you think about this whole nice persona and whether or not we incentivize being bad or we incentivize bad behavior. We would like to know because we obviously are biased to our own community here in Los Angeles, and we would like to know what it's like in your own community. So let us know in the comments, and we'd be happy to hear from you. But thanks again for tuning in, and we will catch you on the next one.
Thank you for watching Left Foot, Right Foot. Don't forget to click the subscribe button and that notification bell so you can keep up to date with us with each of our new releases.
Thank you all so much. We are so close to 500 subscribers, and we plan to do a giveaway once we reach that mark. It's been such a tremendous journey so far on this YouTube platform, and we have all of you to thank, so thank you so much, and we're going to keep this momentum going.